At its peak, this city held nearly 1 million people. It had reservoirs bigger than some modern cities' entire water supply. Its temples were more massive than the pyramids of Giza. And then, it was swallowed by the jungle. No siege, no single battle you can point to. One of the greatest empires in human history just stopped. So what actually happened to the Khmer Empire? Stick around, because the real answer isn't what most people think. Here's the mystery. For centuries, historians blamed one thing: a Thai army from the kingdom of Ayutthaya that supposedly sacked Angkor in 1431 and ended it all. Clean story, textbook friendly, almost certainly wrong. Because when researchers started digging, literally, with satellite imaging and tree ring data, they found the empire had been dying for over 100 years before that invasion even happened. So if it wasn't the invasion, what was it? Stay with me, because the real killer might be sitting under your feet right now, in the form of concrete and drainage pipes. The Khmer Empire rose around 802 CE, when King Jayavarman II declared himself a universal monarch in the hills of Cambodia. Over the next 600 years, his successors built an empire stretching across modern Cambodia, Thailand, Laos, and Vietnam. Its capital, Angkor, wasn't just a city, it was arguably the largest pre-industrial urban settlement on Earth. Recent LiDAR surveys revealed a sprawling metropolis of nearly 3,000 square kilometers, laced with canals, reservoirs, and rice paddies. The secret to that scale? Water. The Khmer engineered an incredibly sophisticated hydraulic system: barrays, giant reservoirs, canals, and moats that let them control monsoon floods and dry season droughts alike. This system fed hundreds of thousands of people and funded the construction of Angkor Wat, Bayon, and hundreds of other temples. But that same water system that built the empire became its greatest liability. Modern tree ring studies from Vietnam's highlands show something brutal happened in the 14th and 15th centuries. Decades-long mega-droughts, interrupted by sudden, violent monsoons. The Khmer's rigid canal network, built for centuries of relatively stable climate, couldn't handle the whiplash. Archaeologists have found evidence of catastrophic flood damage to the very infrastructure that once made Angkor thrive, followed by silting and collapse of key waterways. At the same time, the empire's religious identity was shifting. Angkor had been built around Hindu god-king ideology, with massive temple projects reinforcing royal authority. But by the 13th century, Theravada Buddhism was spreading through the population, a faith that didn't require god-kings or monumental temple building to legitimize power. That slowly eroded the ideological glue holding the old system together. Meanwhile, the regional economy was moving. Maritime trade routes through coastal Southeast Asia, ports like those controlled by Ayutthaya, were becoming more valuable than inland agricultural empires. Angkor, landlocked and dependent on its rice and water economy, was gradually sidelined from the new trade wealth flowing through the region. So when Ayutthaya's forces did eventually take Angkor in 1431, they weren't toppling a thriving superpower. They were finishing off a system already gutted by a century of drought, flood, infrastructure failure, and economic decline. So when Ayutthaya's forces did eventually take Angkor in 1431, they weren't toppling a thriving superpower. They were finishing off a system already gutted by a century of drought, flood, infrastructure failure, and economic decline. The royal court actually relocated southeast toward Phnom Penh, chasing the new center of trade gravity. Angkor wasn't destroyed in a single dramatic moment. It was gradually abandoned, and the jungle simply reclaimed what people left behind and layered. Ideology matters as much as economics. As Theravada Buddhism spread, the god-king system that justified massive public works lost its grip on the population. Geography is destiny, until it isn't. Being landlocked was an advantage when land empires dominated. It became a weakness the moment maritime trade took over. Angkor didn't disappear. It's still standing, still visited by millions every year. But the empire that built it vanished almost silently, done in by drought, water, and a changing world, not by conquest. If you found this as fascinating as I did, subscribe for more deep dives into the empire's history almost got wrong. And let me know in the comments, which fallen empire should I cover next?